Hi there, I'm Evan.
And I'm Mark.
Today was fun.
Was it? Blah, blah. Today we got it coming up, a fun podcast because Evan says so. You need to
Mark
listen.
thinks we go in circles at points, but we're getting to it. And we're gonna get the breakthrough for Mark Drager. It's
Wow, that's the most enticing opening ever.
It's a good episode. You should listen. Ho ho.
Evan.
No, can't hear you.
Yes, you can.
No, nothing.
Yes, that's you.
It's not me. Is
I
it? Maybe it is
I
you.
can see the mic levels moving.
Yeah, it's me. It's me. I had it on mute. I had music blasting. That's why.
You see how confident you were that it was me?
Well, usually if there's a tech issue, it is you. You're very dark too. Where's the lights in your office?
Oh, the lights are here. I'm just not on my main. Here, is that better?
Not really. Okay, it's fine.
Is that better?
Deal with it. That's fine.
There, am I brighter now?
Yeah, you are brighter now.
Yeah, because anyway, welcome to the Something to Prove podcast, joined by Evan and Mark, as always. I mean, if you're listening now, surely you know who we are, right?
No, hey, Mark, come on. For some people, this is their very first episode.
If this is your very first episode, welcome to the Something to Prove podcast. I believe we all have something to prove. And this podcast started by talking about the struggles that all of us entrepreneurs, business people, and people who want to live a life of mission have to overcome. But along the way, over the last year and a half, almost 2 years, it's just turned into Evan's therapy sessions with Mark.
Great.
What are we talking about? Therapy sessions with Evan.
Whatever. What are we doing?
I want to talk about speed, and I want to talk about Bo, man. Like disproportionate response. Talk about that, man. Like quick backstory. As some people may know, I'm starting another podcast called We Do Hard Things. And this came out of the fact that Evan has been telling me that when I'm, up against it, I'm running on the treadmill. I don't think I can do it. I'm breathing. I'm gasping. I want to give up. Or in business, I have to make a hard call that I just need to tell myself, I do hard things. Mark Drager does hard things. Being a Drager means you do hard things. And I started doing it. And it kind of works. And over the last year, I've been looking for like next level conversations. I'm not really interested in the basics, next level conversations. And so we're starting this podcast, We Do Hard Things, where we talk to people who have done just the most extraordinarily hard things. And Evan, do you want to explain who Bo is? How does Bo fit into this? Who's Bo Hawkins?
So I took a bet on somebody who came through my Thought Leadership Academy a year and a bit ago.
2 years ago, this September, 2 years ago.
Jeremy, who was a stock boy at a grocery store. And I said, I'm going to teach you YouTube. I had this vision in the desert, the same trip where I had the vision to make this podcast, the same desert too. I think it was
probably the same day.
That was an inspired trip. So I talked to Mark and we said, we're launching something.
So Evan's lost in the desert, tripping out on drugs. And he comes up with these great brainwaves.
I'm driving very safely. Even though I do get pulled over and get a ticket from the cop in Texas because of a rule that I did not know existed.
What was the move over lane rule?
Yeah, you have to move over. Yeah. So he chased me down. I was going below the speed limit. But in that same desert through Texas, I messaged Mark to say, hey, we should start a podcast. And then that night, we filmed the first episode of the Something to Prove podcast from my Airbnb in New Mexico or whatever we were. And I messaged Jeremy, who he asked me he wanted to walk my dog or cut my grass or something. I said, all right, I got nothing for you. But I had this vision in that Texas heat to say, hey, I'm going to start a YouTube business. I'm going to teach this grocery store clerk YouTube. Anyway, so fast forward a year later, he's making 6 figures US in his first year. Pretty nice success story. He makes, in his last month, he made more in the month than his entire year at his grocery store job. So it's awesome to see. And I thought, okay, it's working with Jeremy. I'm looking for the next person. And so Bo came through Thought Leadership Academy with Mark, right? Wasn't he with your?
He was presenting already. So I don't know how you got connected with Bo. I don't know at what level, but he flew in what are we in 20? May of 19. He flew in and that's where I met him. And he was doing some pretty special things. He was working with someone who has a Netflix show and he has connections with.
So I forget. I'm hazing. Bo would know better. Maybe have him as a guest on your show. But I helped give him the inspiration or the push or whatever to launch that career. That then he connected with somebody and they launched a Netflix special and did a lot of work. And I thought of Bo driving back from a hike from the Hamilton area. Beautiful evening or afternoon hike with my wife. And I thought, I'm going to message Bo to see if he wants to start a booking agency where we book people onto. If you have a show, you have a podcast, you have an Instagram live, you want to get people on your show. One of the biggest problems is people just they either don't have the connections or they don't have the time or team to go off and book people onto their show. And so I said, let's do that for people because it fits within the mission of thought leadership and spreading awareness. And let's use it for me, and let's bring on some clients, and I can connect you, and let's start making that happen. So he said yes, I think right away, maybe the next day, I don't remember. And we started building a business. So we're 1 month in, crushing it. I mean, we've gotten.
I don't think you're a month in. I mean, is it not even a month? It's been like 3 weeks, I think, because you said I talked to you, and you went, "Oh, I talked to Bo today," and it was like a Monday or something, and I was like, "Oh, cool." You told me. I was like, "I need that," and then the next week I talked to him, and now we're a week later or something. It's been like 3 weeks.
So okay, well, great, Mark. I said a month. It's been 3 weeks. Apologies.
It's just so much faster than a month. Everything's going so fast. That's what I want to talk about.
That's how we do it. That's how we. So anyway, so Bo is booking guests. I've been connecting with him. We have our weekly call, and then almost every day, just a quick touch base because it's early, it's new, it's just giving him names, seeing how we're doing with clients. So he's got a couple clients already. Mark might have been the first one. I think he might have been the first one by like an hour or something. So there you go. Mark's another first.
Yes.
Mark likes being first.
Yes. I helped Evan make his first YouTube video. I pissed him off enough to help him launch the top 10 rules to success. What else? I talked about your one word before you even wrote that book. You could say that I was the impetus or the inspiration for that whole movement.
The imp. Perfect. Okay. So Mark, let's say it's the first client. And so we're booking guests, and it's going pretty well. Bo already had a connection. Bo already had some connections of his own. He's just a natural relationship builder, and I've met a ton of people over my years, and so we're smashing our brains together to get results for our clients.
So that's the backstory. That I want to launch a podcast. Evan has this connection with Bo Hawkins out of the UK, and they decided to start this business. Cool. All backstory. Here's what I want to talk about. Mm-hmm. So in the last week, I texted you yesterday about, or I Facebook messaged you yesterday about something about the speed.
Okay.
In the last week, Bo and I have gone from having a conversation of the type of people we'd like to him booking someone. So I sent him some names. I was like, I would like these people. And some of them were like, gets or whatever. And I'm like, I don't know if we're going to be able to talk to these people. Okay. But the first person he booked on the first day of working together was like one of the biggest names that I had sent him. And then he sent me a few other names that he's like, I'm pretty sure we'll line up these ones. And I'm like, okay. And then I'm watching Amazon Prime Eco Challenge. Now, I don't know if you know about Eco Challenge, but Eco Challenge is the world's toughest race. It's an adventure race. It's 11 days, over 700 kilometers. And I watched Mark Burnett produces it. I watched this 17, 18 years ago when the last one was on. So it hasn't been on for almost 20 years. They put the special on, and I'm watching this, and the stories are just like, you want to talk about doing hard things. These people are pushing themselves to do the hardest things. And there's one person in particular that I really wanted to talk to. And so I emailed Bo yesterday and I say, hey, Bo, I'd really like to talk to this person. And he's like, oh, that person. Funny enough, I just booked that person's teammate. Like, do you still want to reach out to her? I said, for sure, I want to reach out to her. And then like an hour later, he's like, okay, booked. And I'm saying to my wife, Jacqueline, I'm like, in the last week, like this is getting, it's almost a little scary. This is moving quickly. Now I know that I'm not, there's no fear because some of these conversations are happening in October, in November. We haven't launched the podcast yet. We've recorded 3. I have one more tomorrow recording, which is great. I want to have maybe 10, 12 under, so we can get going. But Bo is moving so quick. He is driving so much value, like over the top amount of value, which is absurd to me, that I was like, oh, Evan, this is what speed feels like. This is what momentum feels like. It's not hard yet. Like Bo is running with it, and he's doing a great job and all of this stuff. So one, is this a taste like have I just never tasted this, so I didn't know what I was missing and what things should be like? Or is this just really that Bo is abnormally extraordinary at what he's doing? And it's very hard. Like I want a Bo in every area of my life, basically.
Yeah. No, but that's not just it's not a so Bo, it's a combination. Bo is amazing. It's why I partnered with him. It's why I invested into his business. But same thing with Jeremy. He was a stock boy. Now advising some channels bigger than mine on their YouTube content. So
hold on, he's not just a stock boy like working at a grocery store or anything, but like when you say just a stock boy, it's that he's young too, like, right? What, 22, 23, something like that, living at home, working at a grocery
but
store.
He didn't know anything about YouTube besides being watching some videos, but he knew nothing about it. And now he's coaching and getting paid a lot of money from some big channels, as well as now we're working on helping him connect with some of his heroes, just to be in the conversation, just to meet people that he's always wanted to meet. So it's unreal, but it's speed. Yes, speed is important. Welcome to the Carmichael train. This is how we roll. Let's go. Right.
But so the question I have is, okay,
but you've already done it, dude. When we were Tony Robbins,
I've got a taste of this. Okay,
when we were Tony Robbins and we left to then go launch my landing page or my homepage or whatever, and you spat out content and like put it up, that's it. That's the same thing. Speed.
Yeah, but we did that yesterday. Or yesterday was Wednesday? Yeah, yesterday. You and I met for 2 hours and we worked through some strategy of things we were going to do. And anyway, I sent someone on your team some stuff and we got it turned around really, really quickly. And
but everything from yesterday got done. The Movement Makers variation is up. The ad campaigns were split into 8 different campaigns with 4 to 10 different ads.
But is this a byproduct? Sorry, I'm really excited about this. I'm going to interrupt you a lot.
Is
this a byproduct of extreme focus? I mean, it's hard work, obviously. It's skill, it's hard work and all that stuff. But is it that Jeremy and Bo have niched down to like, just like, they're not managing a team. They don't have marketing. They don't have a website. They don't have anything. It's them. It's this consultant model where it's like, they're spending all of their time servicing clients, and that extreme focus just drives a ton of value really quickly.
Nah, it's not that they're just solo. Anybody can do this inside of their own business or their job function. It's a decision to not get bogged down in complexity and structure and planning and models and spending half the day loading some mind mapping garbage software tool and putting a whole bunch of junk in there and then never delivering on anything. Like it's moving to execution. It's the 5% planning and 95% doing. That's exactly what it is. That could be every role and that could be the COO's role, the video producer's role. Like everybody can do that. It's either they are hamstringing themselves with perfectionism in structure, or that's being forced on them, and there's not an expectation of speed. Like Bo naturally is fast anyway, and he's so excited. And remember when you first talked to me about him, he's like, I don't think this guy might even be too good to be true. Like, is it even real? Is it fake? He's like so happy for me. He's like, no, this is Bo. He's awesome. And I'm messaging him like, hey, how are we doing for Mark? Like, Mark, obviously we want all of our new clients to be happy, and it's my name, and I want the business to work. Now, whatever. If Bo's totally screwed up on Mark, that's not going to destroy the relationship, right? I mean, it's solvable. But at the same point, I don't want to lose. Like, who do we need? I was on a call with him. It's like, hey, we might need some people. Great. I loaded up everybody who I'm following on Instagram, and we basically walked through everybody. I made a giant list of who fits for Mark, who fits for this person, like all of Bo's clients, and then who fits, and then how do we reach out to them? And all of them, I said, hey, I can reach out to them, but you need to be first.
Yeah.
Just to start the process, because it's not only going to come through me. Like, you reach out, and if you can't make it, and most of them, I don't even know who their team is. I just know them. So I don't even know who to introduce them to besides them, right? Like, oh, I'm not going to give you his cell phone number. So you gotta figure out a way. And if you can't get through, then I'll do it. One of your guys, this guy messaged me. Who's this guy? Some cowboy.
Oh, yeah. There you go. So that's who I'm talking about from Eco Challenge, Iron Cowboy.
Oh, is that it? Iron Cowboy. Okay. So like, I never heard of this guy. He DMs me, follows me on Instagram. Anyway, fine, whatever. So you know who he is.
Yeah. So his teammate Sonia, she was on that team. I was so inspired by the story. I was like, hey, can I connect with Sonia? And he's like, oh, funny. Yeah, for sure. But funny enough, I've already booked one of our other teammates. And I'm like, this is.
So in that one, we're doing a 2-for-1. Like Mark's show is brand new. So he's a little, skeptical about a brand new show. So he said, Mark's a close friend of Evan. If you go on Mark's, Evan will have you on his. So I'm now going to interview him on my show, even though normally I wouldn't, right? Like I could talk to anybody, right? And then I'm not trying to throw shade, but if I was going to pick people, like we're looking at entrepreneurs, I'm not so looking at marathon runners and people who do hard things, but I want the business to work. And Bo's like, hey, how do we get this? I need to get this guy on Mark's show. How do we do it? Well, offer him to go on mine. And so that's the trade. So he's going to come on mine. I don't know the dates, who's going on what first, but he's going on my show and he's going to go on Mark's show. And that's part of why I'm an investor in the business.
Bo's moving so quickly that like, I feel like I got to try and keep up with him.
That's great.
He goes, hey, Mark, something that's holding us up. The show hasn't launched yet, of course. There is another show that has basically the same name that's basically hurting us. Yeah. I knew about that other show, but that show's so garbage that I'll blow it out of the water. But it's hurting us right now because we haven't.
People are looking it up.
People are looking it up and going, who the hell are these people?
Yeah.
So, Mark, I need something. So.
But here's the thing, right? This is like, I need a one-pager. I need something,
so
right?
I put it up yesterday. He asked me in the morning. I bought the URL. I wrote a page. I put it up. End of day.
And I told Bo that, like, hey, Mark's actually great at that stuff. Like, Mark will get that and actually turn it around pretty quickly. And it'll look good. It may not be final version, whatever, but you can throw that stuff together fairly quickly. Here's the difference. Most people who are in Bo's position would say, oh, Mark, Mark, I can't even start. We don't even have a website.
Right. We don't have a page.
There's another podcast called the exact same thing that you want to do and they suck. I'm going to go out there and they're going to reject me. You don't even have an episode with Evan or somebody close to you. It's for me to
trailer yet.
Pitch it against, right? That's the thing that prevents people from getting started. None of that stuff matters. This is the same thing with you and calling people up. Right? It's like, oh, but none of that matters. You work on your landing page. It doesn't matter. The website doesn't matter, right? It's just calling people and getting business, period. And Bo's doing it. So does that website help? Like he doesn't auto assume that it's a no, but he's actually getting some real pushback to say, oh, is this it? It's like, oh no, that's not it. And if you never did it, it doesn't matter. He'll still go.
He'll get in front of it. He can get in front of it by saying, listen, there's another podcast. Please don't look that up. It's irrelevant, whatever.
He'll still do it. He'll still go. He won't accept that to be an excuse. But hey, if you want to make his life a little easier and help move the chances of you getting your podcast guest booked, then yeah, a one-page, simple landing page would be great to have, Mark, right? But whatever. You don't make it. I'm still going to will this thing into existence. It's going.
Okay.
That's the difference.
So here's a few things. So on my side, I've had nothing and worse than nothing. Like basically Bo comes along and he looks like a knight on a white horse because he's so good at it. And I haven't inched my way up. I've gone from basically being very bad at booking people to having someone who's extraordinary at it. So the value proposition is just like he's blown away my expectations. So the question I have, which isn't even tied to Bo, but just more tied to speed and this is that, so something that, I have this big picture for the audience at my office, this huge canvas we did that said, drive immediate and never ending value. And it's important to me to drive immediate and never ending value because what I learned is over the years in my business, we were doing certain things where we would be able to drive a ton of value for people and just impress the pants off of them. And then like 6 months or 8 months later, we just wouldn't be able to maintain those elevated expectations, or it would be like project was awesome. And then something comes along that's not awesome. And so I was like, oh, okay, so we could drive immediate value, but not never ending. And then on other ones where we're really long-term focused, like we know we're going to drive value in 12 months and 18 months and 24 months, but but people they get tired, they get impatient, they lose confidence. If Bo booked a ton of great guests in December and manage my expectations, somewhere along the way, I'd probably question, what are we doing or why are we doing it? But then eventually all this stuff would come. So Bo's come out of the gate like a rocket ship. I know that we can, there's always going to be more guests. We're always going to be able to level up our guests. He's going to consult and coach and say, Mark, you didn't do a good job here. You did a great job there, whatever it is. Do you worry about that with Jeremy? Do you worry about that with yourself? Do you worry about that with Bo, or, this idea of, you guys are driving a immediate value for sure. Can you keep it up? Can you continue to impress? And does that worry you, or is that not even something that's on the horizon?
No, not
because you guys close. Are throwing so much at it right now. Like you even said, hey, I'm negotiating to make sure this happens over here. And
but we got nothing. I mean, it's only going to be. Do you think I'd be? So the only
in 12 months you're not going to be doing that. In 12 months you're going to be like. Oh,
so first up, so I had this conversation with Jeremy where he's worried about like holding back or just making sure that maybe I run out of things to say. It's like First, you're not going to run out of things to say. There's always lots of work to do. And if you ever run out of anything of like you're stuck on ideas for what to give the client, come to me because I'll have 1,000 ideas for them to go and apply to their client. Like channels bigger than mine are still making giant mistakes everywhere. And I'm just, without even knowing at it, I fully know that I can go and fix and give ideas to make their channel better. So don't hold back. Go give. There's always gonna be new challenges in their business. There's always gonna have new opportunities. Like I'm just not worried about it at all. Because he was worried, okay, once we get through thumbnail design and once we get through strategy and once we get, well, then what? There's a ton more. Just keep going, right? You run out, come to me, I'll help you. And he's like, maybe once or twice we've had to think of new things to come.
But do a bit of a brainstorm.
Yeah, but it's like, it's super fast. Like, okay, what's the problem? Okay, boom, fix this, right? Like I talked to him for an hour a week. And maybe a little bit of Facebook in between, but yeah, so that was a real concern for him, but I'm never worried about that. With Bo, the only thing I'd be worried about from you is that he might outscale you. Like for the clients that he brings on, you might be his lowest paying client and he may not be able to afford to keep you, right? Like and you're not paying nothing either, right? I mean, it's not like it's $100 a month or something. Here's the service, right? For you, it's a big amount. For other people, it's not a big amount. And as he scales up,
listen, it was a big amount. It was a big amount to me a week and a half ago. Doesn't seem like a big amount to me very much right now. So that's the thing. It's like it's what is so. I think this feels like it's the first time. It feels like I just experienced something that I have never experienced before. And it's really exciting and encouraging. I was saying to Jack, like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like last week, this was something that we were going to try. And I told him we need to ladder up. And he's like, for sure, we need to ladder up. But the people he's starting with already so much more exceed my expectations than when we started that it just gives, it's like intoxicating, man. It's like this addictive, intoxicating excitement of what could be very, very quickly.
But here's why you have released, like why it can go so quickly is you have removed your need to control the whole process.
Well, yesterday I did ask him for a list because he's like, I'm booking this person and this person, this person. And I'm starting to go like, crap, like some of the names I know and I'm excited about. Some of the names I don't know, I'll research them. But I'm worried that we're going to line up like 8 or 10 amazing people, but there's just like no through line. Like I guess the through line's me and the questions and whatnot. But
the through line is do hard things. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Audience, do you hear how much I worry about?
But this is the problem. No, but this is now you're putting the brakes on. Now you're preventing speed from happening. Is the need to control every little bit of the process and then complaining about not wanting to be involved in the process. This is the problem, right? Like if this was, now part of it is Bo's not reaching out from Fanta or from Mark Drager. He's reaching out from my account, right? It's bo@evancarmichael.com is the email. And if you look at Bo Instagram, it's like, I work with Evan Carmichael on whatever. So maybe that helps in part of the process, but you're not vetting his process. You're not asking for, well, what did you say to this person? And how often are you reaching out to them? And what's the branding look like? And where's our logo as we talk about like all the stuff that normally you would do that just slows everything down to a quick thing.
A bit of that, man.
But that's what you slow down. That's where you slow everything down.
I didn't tell him what to say, but when he started, I said, hey man, can you just send me the wording so I can look at it? And then he was booking something. And because there's this other podcast, but they use the acronym, I said to him, like, hey, can we make sure him and Joshua, I was like, hey, can we make sure we don't use the acronym anywhere? I know it's more to type it out each time or copy and paste or whatever, but I just want all the words there. So that way we're not confused with the acronym from the other podcast. And then once we get established, give me 3 months, we're going to crush that one.
But you're playing defense before the game's even started. Like that's the cancer. That's what kills the speed.
Okay. So, let
go Bo out and like, let him make some mistakes. And it's, you have a trusted source, it's coming. It's my name. I picked him. I said he's good. I wouldn't recommend him to you if I didn't think he was going to do a good job. And I'm personally motivated to make sure he does well. And like, listen, I want my personal motivation is I want Mark Drager to see what it's like working on Team Carmichael instead of Evan seeing what it's like working on Team Fanta. That's like, that's a big motivation for me to help Mark as a human being.
Well, so here's the thing. Okay. So, do you remember, because I know you have a bad memory, do you remember the time that you and Nina stayed in the presidential suite?
Where?
In Miami, I think.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Okay. So I think we talked about this in Cleveland.
Okay.
In Cleveland. I think on the podcast episode where you and I were in Cleveland.
Yeah.
So that would have been April of 19. We talked about this, but
okay.
Can you share real quick the story about why you did that?
I don't know if I'm going to answer the way you want me to, but what's in my head is we were doing a cruise ship. That was our last stop. We had Nina's family. It was chaos. I knew going in advance it was going to be chaos. And we had 1 night, 2 nights. I don't remember. 3 nights. I don't remember. And I just wanted that last, her family was going home and I love her family. It's not anything wrong with that. Just like, hey, now it's our time. In my head, I imagined 2 weeks of just cramped, kids everywhere, yelling, screaming. Let's have a giant place to ourselves. Hayden has his own, it was a big place. Hayden's got his own like wing over there. And Nina and I had our own spot. Does that answer it?
Close. You told me that you also did it though, just to have a taste of it.
Okay.
That you think it's good, it's healthy to do things that are a little bit outside. You don't want to put yourself in financial harm or whatever. But the thing that you wouldn't normally spend money on, do it. The thing that you wouldn't normally do it. Just have a taste of it, so that way you can get a sense of what's to come.
Got it.
And that really stuck with me. Of course, after that, Jack, my wife and I, we bought a new vehicle, and we bought we bought a very, very expensive vehicle, the most expensive thing I've ever purchased, but a house, and so it's like the first time I drove it, I remember saying to Jacqueline, I was like, first of all, that night I had a panic attack, which wasn't great, but an anxiety attack. But before that, I was like, this vehicle is the fanciest thing I've ever been in my life. And it felt like, despite the fact that we're in our home and we are where we are financially, it felt like it was a taste of something.
Well, how about when I took you business class to Tony?
Yeah, that's one of them too.
Okay.
That's one of them too. I've never flown business class before. You took me down. We go to the Air Canada lounge, the private lounge. Oh, yeah. We get to do all these things. These things are all commonplace for Evan, but it's like a taste of it. When we were planning our 15-year anniversary in May, and we were going to St. Lucia, we were going to a place far more boutique and weird and risky in my mind. And I bought business class tickets for us because it's like, okay, we're going to have a taste of it. And so the reason I say all these things is because I think that that every once in a while, it's really, really good not to ask yourself, can I afford this or not? But to do these things so that way you remind yourself what life could be like. And I'm grateful for those opportunities and those things. So here's where I'm going with this.
Okay.
This experience feels like a taste of something. And so it's like a taste of what life could be like, okay. that working with a really great person who can drive a lot of value really quickly, where we can take something from concept that, honestly, gosh, how long have we been talking about this podcast? Since April? And
ridiculous. We helped book your first guest here on the podcast. Didn't I reach out to?
Yeah. I think that may have been in May. And I think in April, I ran a test before COVID hit. I ran a test interview with someone, I think in March. And then in April, I had the idea. And then in June, I think I did the first few interviews. And then so it's been like 6 months. And then in a week, it's like this.
Yeah.
and I could picture what could be, and I could picture where it could go and how.
Okay, so what did I say to you when what was my reply back on Facebook when you said how great Bo was? What you had to do with Fanta?
Give me a. Oh, I don't even remember that.
Great.
Because we started talking about your YouTube campaign like right away.
No, you saw it that night, and then the next day we're talking YouTube. You didn't reply back. You just kind of left it. But I know that you saw it because it said "seen."
Yeah, sometimes I wake up, or as I'm falling asleep, I glance to see, and then if it's not, like, I don't like to draw myself out of a sleep. You said, "Yep, that's the pace I'm talking about, baby."
And then,
let's see what the 4 Toronto Drager ads are. That's what you said.
Oh, and
I
then
said, cool. And then what about these? And then we talked about ads. What about them? No, actually, I never had them in my campaign. Most of them are paused in the Fanta campaign. Oh, now go hire. Okay, wow, this is much later. Now go hire a Bo to do sales for you so you can get some Fanta momentum too.
Yeah, that's what you need to do. You need to go hire. I mean, you've just seen it. Bo is basically in sales. He's selling your podcast and bringing you clients, right? He's bringing you people to talk to. You need a Bo in your Fanta organization to go do the same things. Line up people for you to talk to, because you'll be great talking to them. You just don't want to do the calls, and you could line up tons of people for you. Get the person, build the business. There's this block and resistance, which is just so unfathomable to me that I don't know why you insist on putting the brakes on like constantly.
So here's the thing. Last night I'm on a walk with Jacqueline. This podcast should be called Here's the Thing. But anyway, I'm on a walk with Jacqueline, and we're talking about a mutual friend. And I'm just so frustrated. I'm like, I don't understand. It's just so clear. It's so simple. I've given them all the tools. And I finally said, like, I just wish that I can make them care as much about this as I care about it, because I've given them the answers and I don't know why they won't do it. And then I was like, but that's the way Evan feels about me. That's the way that, like,
all the time.
We all have that. Like I know, I'm self-aware enough to know that the very thing that I'm telling this person to do is also the thing that I don't do that you want me to do. And it's probably also the thing that you don't do that someone else wants you to do, and so on. And it's just...
You just experienced it. Who cares about your friend? You just experienced it with Bo.
Yeah.
And you're facing the exact same problem in your Fanta business, because you're the sales guy and you're not selling anything. And it's
Why do you keep bringing it back to this all the time?
Because it's important, because you're not doing anything.
In a row that you've brought it back.
Well, instead of asking that question, how about you ask Evan, man, you love me so much. Why am I not doing this thing that just seems so basic and is obviously really important to you?
Evan, man, you love me so much. Why am I not doing the thing?
Exactly. Just do it. Go hire your salesperson, Bo, to get you clients to build the business. Period.
What's holding me up, man?
What's holding you up? I don't know. Molasses. I don't know why you've got such a block on that. Every time you look at Fanta, it's always just this giant organization and just roadblocks and just it looks like it's a 5,000 person company and there's like 8 people in it. Because that's how Mark thinks. And he likes thinking that way. And it's fun and it's creative. And he's a weird tinkerer like that. But it also prevents any growth from happening. You're really the CEO. Like, you should be the CEO of Royal Bank or something. You should be the CEO of, like, that's how you can play the politics, and you know the right things to say. You can say good things that sell the future, and even if it doesn't ever happen, you're not responsible for it anyway. You can create.
So I shouldn't be an entrepreneur. I should go out and just become a CEO.
No. You should be an entrepreneur. I'm saying you would be great at being a CEO of a public company. You'd be great at it, and you sound really smart, and you'd create these complex systems that make sense in your head, and then actually have 5,000 people working for you who would actually fill out all those roles that you've got mapped out. Like, it'd be so you could do that in your sleep. You would then your problem is you actually want to be a valuable human being. You actually want to make an impact.
Wow. Shade thrown as the CEOs of the world.
Yeah, but that's part of the game. Like, part of the game, it's like politicians who get into politics trying to make a difference without understanding that it's a game. Like you make the difference by playing the game. People don't want to play the people who have a good heart get torn up in that system. Your problem is you could have kept going the way you were going on Fanta and had lots of success, but you realized, oh wait, I want my work to actually mean something. Oh, well, that's a whole other game. Now you're in entrepreneur land. That's what you really want, but you're fighting against your everything that you
inner nature.
Yeah, exactly. Right. You're fighting against and everything that you've learned and been rewarded for. You've been rewarded for all this stuff. Nobody's ever called you out and said, Mark, this is total garbage. You don't know any other way. So we're unlearning and relearning. But you would crush it as a CEO. You could be the youngest CEO of Royal Bank and crush it. But you can't apply that thinking to running an 8-person company. What's the problem? Sales. Great. Hire a salesperson. Awesome. Go do it. 5 weeks later, we still haven't done it. More than 5. I don't know how long you've been on this horse. More than 5 weeks.
You've been on this horse a long time.
Because nothing's happened. This is the problem. Right?
Stuff's happening. I just don't want to. I don't want to fill you in on everything because you'd be like, "Oh, that's all garbage stuff."
It is because it is still garbage stuff. Because look at what happened with Bo, and now the podcast means something, right? Before it was just talk and just graphs and pictures, and you can have your places for all the people who are going to join your team and all this stuff, and still like, hey, we haven't launched an episode.
But I did record some episodes, so
Great.
That was something, right?
No, I'm not rewarding that. This is the same pat on the back you're giving yourself. That momentum doesn't count. That's garbage momentum. It's the
garbage
same.
Momentum.
Yeah, garbage, gabentum. I don't know. Can't come up with a good one, but that doesn't count. That's baby steps, man. The fact that you recorded 2 episodes in 6 months doesn't count, man.
3.
Awesome. Who cares? It's nothing.
In 2 weeks.
You've been had this podcast. Look at Something to Prove podcast. We had the idea in the desert, and tonight we're recording our first episode. That's what you need. That's momentum.
I wanted to say no too, but I realized that if I said no to you on the first day, then it would.
Oh yeah, then it's done.
It would never happen. It would be over. You'd be like, forget it. Never mind.
But that's the problem. That's what's
I've been
happening
talking
with all your
for
ideas.
2 years about doing a podcast together.
But to say like this is the first time this is the first time you've witnessed it. You've been a part of these spurts for many times over the years.
Yeah, no. I listen. I can make progress by just throwing focus on it. Like clearing my schedule, spending 3 days on something. Go. It's just not. This is the first time that something has been like, okay, let's. Here's my concept. Oh, someone has come along who can do exactly what I need them to do, and they're doing it, and we're going from 0 to like really, really big, really quickly. And
you let them do it. You took off. You barely had any breaks. You gave them some criteria. Even though you're concerned, this is very un-Drager-like. I don't know what you did. I think it's just because he's part of my team or his team and not yours. Because normally you would control that whole process so much more and either piss Bo off that he's like, this guy's not worth it. Bo's super patient, so he probably would sit and deal with it until I tell him, don't deal with any crap from Mark. You have to push him in the face and just do your thing.
I run like because even with Joshua, I'm pretty hands off. I think I feel like I'm pretty hands off. We have conversations about things, but I give feedback when I see it. But I'm willing for my own stuff. I'm willing.
Okay, so
to have lower standards or make mistakes or this or that with client stuff. It's not low standards.
That's not fair. It's not low standards. It's just your way of doing it without and like not respecting speed. Speed improves the standards. If it takes you a year to get something out, who cares? The whole project is dead by then. I don't know. I don't know how it worked with Joshua getting it going. If you were faster, awesome. But Fanta is your stuff. Fanta is your business. It's the same thing. Right? Louis should have been hired and promoted that day. Yep. Salesperson should have been hired 3 months ago. Yep. Fanta should be a $5 million business right now. Yep.
Well, I've had a taste of it. It was delightful and intoxicating.
It's ongoing, man. It's
super,
ongoing.
super exciting. And yeah, like it's becoming so real so quick that I'm like,
okay, but why do you put the brakes on? Why is it your thing is fine, but the business, which is your business, it's not fine.
I don't know if this explains it too, but so let's say that we're doing writing for TDS, right? We helped with the branding for TDS for Toronto Dance Salsa. The words that go on the homepage or any page of the website, I scrutinize like crazy and have extremely high standards and will want to get right. If it's a blog post that someone on my team is writing, I barely want to take the time to read it because I know how insignificant it is. It's about getting something up. It's not about making sure that every adjective of every word carefully captures the emotion of it. It's
okay,
about
but but hold on, no. Even in you saying getting stuff up, you create 18 layers that they have to go through to get it up.
No, I mean not within the company, but I see the same way. Like social media, like the stuff on the Mark Drager brand. On my website, on my homepage or my backstory, I think over the last year I've probably rewritten it 4 times or 5 times because I have gone back in every 3 or 4 months with new wording, with new positioning, with new tinkering because I care about that. But on Joshua putting up an IGTV video with a thumbnail that had a typo in it. I was like, hey dude, there's a typo. And he's like, oh, let me pull it down. I'm like, no, just leave it up. I don't care. Like, that's fine. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me that there's a typo in it. It doesn't matter to me that there's maybe a crossfade on an audio thing that's not quite as good. Like, I don't scrutinize. I don't know. Like, I have a different set of standards or beliefs when it comes to that type of content versus
but that's what you need.
This thing that needs to be forever.
But it's not forever. What forever? Jesus Christ.
I know. I'm telling. You asked me what it is. I'm explaining to you what's up here.
But
I know rationally,
but you already know how to do it. You already know how to do it. It's not even watching Bo do it. You're doing it. You are doing it. It's Dr. Jekyll and Frankenstein. Are those the two? Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde? Whatever. Like that's you. You've got a split personality.
We know this about me. We already know that I'm optimistic and pessimistic. That I'm manic and depressed.
But showing up, you know how to show up and make it go faster. And even Fast Mark, I think can go faster. But still, let's go with Fast Mark at least.
It's just.
But that's what you need to let go of.
Right-sizing the amount of care that I need to put on something because there's lots of times where I think something should be really quick and then I do it quick and then I find out, like I wrote a landing page for you a bunch of weeks ago that we had a call and then I worked on it for about 2 hours and sent it to you. And I was like, wow, I had it the next morning. We spoke on Friday. I got up at 5 a.m. on a Saturday, spent 2 hours writing it, got it to you. And I was like, yeah, I'm living it. I'm doing it. And then you just spent all day just like tearing apart. Okay. You're like, this isn't good enough. And this isn't Mark Drager quality. And this isn't this and this isn't that and all of this stuff. And then so it was like the next day, it was like Sunday night that I was able to get back to it. So I don't know if it's an issue with prioritizing because I suck at that. I don't prioritize well. I don't, my wife thinks that it's overcommitment because I say yes to too much and I try to do too much. And it's not achievable. I don't know if it's that I'm cheap and I'm not willing to spend the money that I need to spend or do the things that I need to do. It's probably procrastination and fear of not being good enough, of course. Like, I don't know.
Prioritizing, maybe. Overcommitting, no. Cheap, no. I don't know what the fear is. Like the sales is a great immediate example.
We've talked about this a whole bunch of times.
But we're going to keep talking.
Great. I sell by making basically a promise to someone. It's not a guarantee. I don't make guarantees or things like that. It's basically
hire somebody. Like
basically like a promise.
It doesn't matter. You're not selling. You're not talking to people.
That what we're doing will drive value. And if I don't have ultimate confidence in that, then I don't move ahead with it.
You can help. We already know we can help B2B clients.
This is now just for our listeners. Like you talked about this 2 weeks ago. You talked about this 3 weeks ago. Like we're just going down the same path. We might as well just go back 3 episodes, listen to that. It was much more interesting than us going through it again.
But like, how do you're coming on and saying, I want speed. This is it. Yes. This is the biggest area that you need speed in your life.
But what I want to do is I want to figure out, so 2 weeks ago, or a few weeks ago on our mastermind dinner, we were talking about this. And we were talking about, okay, I'm going to do this. Anyway, you asked earlier, it seems uncharacteristic for me. Yeah, I trust you. I trust Bo. The finances doesn't seem that risky. relative to the rewards, and it's proving not to be. So it's great. I look for these domino things like this, like, okay, if I make this one investment, does it unlock all of these other things behind it? Yeah, a salesperson could be that. You know, the other day you texted me about it. I just said, I don't know, because I haven't spent any time thinking about it or focusing on it. I've spent
But that's
time
the problem. Like you're not, it's not that you're cheap.
Moving the company to the new model, trying to ensure that the finances of the business, you know, and the different sides of the business are feasible. And
that's the, if you're talking about like buckets of potential areas of weakness, the first one was prioritizing, right? That's the problem. It's like spending way too much time thinking about that stuff that doesn't matter as much as you think it does. It's not that you're overcommitting. You could commit more if you just prioritize and work faster. You could commit more.
I focus on the things that worry me the most. Lots of things worry me.
But you focus by thinking, not by doing. You're not taking enough action. You're planning and making your graphs and everything, but you're not doing anything. So it doesn't count. It might be really taxing. It might be really emotional. It might take up a lot of time. You might need a lot of focus and cut off all distractions. You could focus on making this thing happen. But everything you just did barely matters. That's the problem. It just barely matters. Great. So you could commit. No, but it's not a commitment issue. Like you're not overcommitting the things. You're not. You could do more. I would love to see you do 3 times more than what you're doing right now. You could do it if you just actually focused your time better. It's not a cost issue. You're willing to spend money. I want you to be cheaper with things.
No kidding. No kidding. You're like, I can't believe what you're spending your money on, Mark.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, the model's broken, but whatever. It's not a lack or willingness to spend. You're not cheap. Like this is the self-awareness part. You're not cheap. You're not overcommitting. You're just spending too much time on things that don't matter. That's the entire problem. You're spending time on things that don't matter. And so it's recognizing, should you be doing it? And if yes, then what's the best use of your actual time? And if you shouldn't be doing it, then get somebody in who could do it. Transitioning the company and building a model, great. Yes. Should you be calling up clients? Yes. You should be doing that in 1/8 of the time that you're spending on it right now. Yeah, it's totally doable. You're just spending too much time thinking.
You know, we've had this financial issue with the company, and I've been racking my brain for a bunch of months. I have to speak kind of vaguely because we're working through it still. But you know, I've been racking my brain probably for 2 months about it. And I'm walking down Blue Mountain. My wife and I go away for the weekend. We went for a hike, more like a run up the mountain on Monday.
Nice.
And I'm walking down it, and I'm just like, you know, the only thing that matters, when you get to go away and clear your head and whatnot, it was very easy. You know what it was actually? Jacqueline turned to me. She turned to me and she said the day before, "You're so unhappy." And she's like, "And you've been really, really unhappy for a while now." And when she said that, it felt like it gave me permission to take big swings that I had to do, because she was kind of saying like, do whatever you need to do to get happy, to put yourself in a place where you're happy. And so the next day I'm walking down the mountain, I'm thinking about this, and I'm like, you know, an epiphany came to me for a way out, how we could handle the situation, what we could do, and how it would work. And it opens up tons of different risks, but it became clear to me, like, I have to do this. I have to do this. And so that was like 9:30 in the morning. We're walking down the mountain. You know, I tried to call Louis and my controller, and I couldn't. So at 1:00, we're on a conference call with them. Then I emailed the client that this affected at like 2:30. And then at 4 p.m. that day, I was on a call with them about it.
Yep.
And to me, I was proud of the speed, because this is something that's been bothering me for 2 months.
Yep.
But what I want to get to is like, hey, this is bothering me.
Yes.
And the next
Not
day,
wait 3 months.
2 months ago, the next day, it's the thing that's happening.
You already knew months ago.
But I needed
Jacqueline's.
I needed clarity on, you know, like this potential thing can blow up a lot of areas that don't really matter. Hold on. It feels like it doesn't really matter. Now, I have permission from Jacqueline to blow whatever up I need to blow up, or everything may go smoothly. Everything may go super smooth, or it may not. But that unknown.
You came up with a solution in a matter of hours once you decided that it was important. And what helped you decide it was important? You hating your life for 3 months to the point where your wife has to say, wow, you're not happy and I'm worried for you. Like that's what has to change. That's the speed that we're talking about. Once you decided, boom, one day you decide, you go, it's not that even that you were walking outside, you could have done that in your basement. You came up with a solution. You talked to Louis, you talked to your controller, you talked to the client. You still don't have the final answer, but man, momentum, finally. Like you have more momentum that one day than the past 3 months. That could be every day.
I want that. I don't know how.
But I'm telling you, go hire a salesperson.
Great. One thing knocked out. Excellent.
But that's
Excellent.
it.
Next.
What's next? What's important? And then just deciding to make it happen. Once you've decided, you go quickly. You just don't decide. And once
I decide on something, I move very, very quickly.
That's what I do. I just said that.
I know, but to the point where people are like, wait, what's happening?
Great. I do that all the time.
Yeah.
What's happening?
I'll hold on to a staff member. Years past, I remember I'll hold on to staff member. And then the day that I decide is like, no, this isn't working anymore. It's like that afternoon. Unfortunately, they have to leave or something. So, okay. So I always feel like I have to get emotionally comfortable with the things that I'm doing and the decisions I'm making.
Always be jumping. Episode 14.
Dude, I was walking down the mountain, repeating that in my head. And I felt bold and I felt courageous. And I was like, this is what we have to do. This is the only option. This is what we have to do. And then an hour and a half later, we're packing up our bags, we're moving out of the hotel room. And like, just I'm like, oh gosh, I don't know if do we really have to? I don't know. Maybe there's other outs. Maybe there's something else we can do. I don't know. So I had to put the things in place. Otherwise I would have chickened out.
Always be jumping.
Always be jumping. Well, listen, for everyone who's along on this ride with us, maybe you guys live your life all the time this way, and then you're looking at me going, Mark, you don't know what you've been missing. But
no. Hold on. Nobody lives that way. Like you're already living it in a way that is ahead of 98% of the planet.
But I'm not living it. I've just
you already are.
I've just experienced it, and
sure. But compare that to Mark 5 years ago. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but yeah.
But if you want to go faster, then let's next week not talk about you hiring a salesperson again. This is my job, is to point out the molasses in Mark's life and just apply nonstop, ongoing pressure until something actually happens with it. Or your wife tells you that you're hating your life again and you have to do something, right? It's like you being that for yourself.
Honestly, some of the most clarity that I've had is when I'm giving someone else advice and then the next day I'm like, crap. It's so clear, so black and white when you tell someone else what you have to do. I don't want to be a hypocrite. So I can't tell someone to do something and then the next day not do it.
How about building a happy life? Mark wants to build a happy life. What's preventing that right now?
I fear that if I focused on wanting to build a happy life, that I wouldn't pursue any of the things that I was pursuing.
That's not true. You're so pumped.
The reason why I'm doing the We Do Hard Things podcast is I need to get way more. I need to fall in love with doing things I don't like. We talked about this a really long time ago.
Yeah,
I love the energy and the spirit of weekends. We have friends over and we connect and we laugh and we have food and drink and all of this stuff. And then Monday comes and everything feels so hollow and empty. And then at the end of the week, hold on, at the end of the week, I love the progress we've made in the company or something. And it's just like, and I don't want to go spend time with friends. I'm busy thinking about the company thing. Like I get obsessed with things. And then you told me at the time that I'm just addicted. I'm addicted to weekends. I'm addicted to work. I'm addicted to whatever it is that I'm obsessed with at the time. I think that, if ultimately it's like, I just want to build a happy life. I don't know if I would do half of the things I'm doing.
That's not true. You do more. You would do more. If you actually focus on happiness, what is happiness? Happiness to Mark is not sitting by his pool 24/7 and passing out with beer. Like that's not a happy life. So what is a happy life? If you had to blow everything up and Mark starting.
For the record, I need to say that I haven't had a beer in a year and a half.
Whatever.
Thank you. I drink vodka.
Awesome. Happy life is not just your version of a happy life is not nothing. You're ambitious. You want to help. You want to serve. You want to make a difference. You want to make an impact. You want to feel like what you did mattered. That's fulfillment for you. You want to help people. You will. What would you do with your life for a week, 2 weeks? If you sold Fanta and somebody already bought the rights to your podcast and now you're out of that too, great. You'll go celebrate. You'll spend 2 weeks lying by your pool or 2 months traveling the world with no COVID or whatever. And then you're going to get bored.
No, I don't want that. I'm just saying.
But what do you want? You're saying you wouldn't do half the things. What do you want?
I've come to learn that, or I have a belief now, maybe it's a limiting belief that we've talked about this, that I'm not great with people. And the more that I dig into.
What's happy? What do you want? You're not good with people.
I'm building it. I'm excited about it. This is what.
So then what are you saying? I wouldn't do half the things that I'm doing. I'm building it. Great. So
all the old things. Okay, the new things are exciting and new.
So why are you worried about that? You don't want to do those things anyway.
Why am I worried about it?
You don't want to do those things.
What are we talking about now? We're talking in circles. What's going on here?
I said
no one understands what we're talking about.
I understand what we're talking about. I said you need to make the decision through the lens of you building a happy life. And then you said, I wouldn't do half the things that I'm doing if I focus on being a happy life. Well, you want to get rid of those things anyway. Great. Go build a happy life. What does that look like? Because you're going to be ambitious. You're going to make an impact. You're going to make your mark. Mm-hmm. Go do it.
I am. Just give me some time.
Okay. But you started this whole thing off with, I want to go faster.
I do want to go faster.
So then what does Mark Drager say to Mark Drager when he says, I want to go faster, but just give me some time?
The answer is, so go faster.
Great.
Dumbass.
So then don't come at me with your excuse of just give me some time. You don't want to give yourself time. You are not proud of how long things take. That's what you want to fix. So go faster. Mm-hmm. Hire your salesperson.
Let's go.
If you want to see me and Mark where he's in the wild, check out the video right there next to us. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe. We'll see you there.